Strife and separation in the world seem to both be causing havoc among the people, especially the younglings who they cherish peace and they want to embrace a more loving world, or at least work towards creating one. So questions rise and rarely they get an answer. What do you do in times of strife and separation? See, this whole world has been living on separation and strife. And throughout its history, each generation found ways to cope with it. But see, copium is not going to save you much. See, in times of separation and the such, you have to understand your inner peace is the most important. But what about the people who don't believe my points of view? Well, first and foremost, they are not your points of view. You took them from somewhere else, you learned them from television, from other sources, depending on situations. Yes? And now you just support them because, to a certain extent of your knowledge, you think that that is the correct waypoint. You see people supporting societal agendas. You see people supporting the opposite. See, when a certain empire would fall, obviously there will be deaths, there will be chaos, destruction, because an old empire that doesn't want to give up its power will prefer to think, well, if I can't rule the world, why not destroy it, right? So that no one else does. So you have to understand a lot of people are playing with power, and the problem is a lot of people, unfortunately, are way too overwhelmed with knowledge. See, there are people who know things in the world, and they will share because a wise person knows that their wisdom and their knowledge won't serve them beyond the grave. And what about the people who don't know? Well, they fall into categories. The people who will want to know and who will seek, and the people who don't want to know. Both of these, in a way, are dangerous because misguided, well, they will always do what shouldn't be done necessarily. A lot of people can't figure out what it is that should be logical or not because people nowadays aren't taught history much. They aren't taught the old values anymore because if you lack all of these, you basically become like a mold. And a mold is easy to be turned into any of the sides. You have to understand people are not your enemies, yes? The beliefs in their head maybe they're your enemies, but live as an example and present your points without necessarily starting a fight. Because behind every war, there lies a hidden third party that supplies each of the two with the resources needed until one wins and does the dirty job of exterminating the second. And then the third one will come in presenting itself as heroes. You have to understand this is the period of false messiahs. And well, it's always been. You've seen it in the beginning, several years ago when all sorts of fake gurus appeared on the internet. How to make money for free, how to do this, how to open your chakras, how to, they don't know too much about what they're talking, but, they seem to have so much information to share. And free speech seems to be harder and harder to find nowadays. And people who truly speak what they know, even harder as well. You see, in a sick society, the only cycle that happens is from worse to even worse. Because a sick society will create something which will only experiment with. When it wants that to be discarded, it will present a new idea as that which must be served, right? And so you will have in a lot of countries, you will have people who will want to fight for the new change because they're sick of what has been going on. You can see that in Eastern Europe. It's been like that. A lot of people wanted to rid themselves of communism because they were sick of it, and well, socialism, better said. But they were only embraced by a new experiment, which forces from the dark, or whatever you want to call them, the ones who created capitalism. Well, capitalism was decided to win in the end because it would exploit people better. Socialism, unfortunately, for the people who want to rule apathically, well, the problem is socialism also gives something in return. So some people simply embraced that. And in order to have a war, you need to have two sides. The point is, always seek to make two sides if you want a war. I stated in the previous video that there are external wars and there are internal wars. Internal wars are more fierce because you can't flee from them, and they always happen, be it in your dream, be it when you are awake. Whatever else you keep feeding your mind with, all the thoughts, if they become contrasting with any other thought, they will create war within you. A war means a separation. It will mean that you're becoming more and more fractured. The more fractured you become, it's like multiple cores start functioning within you, and they each demand their own resources. You're not doing much physical effort, but because of all this overthinking, you're constantly feeling tired. So, one needs to feed themselves with more silence, walk out in the park, do whatever it happens. Because if something bad happens, well, you're not going to be able to prevent it anyways. And in the case something horrific happens, well, if you look at things, not too many people will be able to leave. Unfortunately, people simply want change, but the problem is, in this sick society, a change is only meant to fit itself, to fit its own madness, because in a sick society, only ignorance is the only religion, the only God. If you don't serve your own ignorance, you don't serve your own demise. If you don't serve your own demise, well, the point is you're not going to serve any other interest. Because if they break you, they will give you false cures on how to cure you back, right? If they break your psyche, well, they have psychiatry wards or false cures to cure that as well. If they break your mind, well, that means you're giving them free space in your mind. So hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness when one needs to realize that all they need instead is just peace. All the wars in the world take place because people have forgotten how to make use of their emotions. Once one learns that emotions are like an ocean and you're the wind that is stirring it, once you manage to make your mind be calmer and not allow people to simply piss you off that easily, you'll see that it will be far easier to handle situations and to think clearly when you're no longer reacting to everything. In order to rule people, you have to make them react to everything. And when people are ready to react, problem reaction solution is always what a sick society will do, because they will always create you a problem, even if it is a true problem or a problem in your own mind. Look at ads. They're always making you think if you don't buy their services or their products, your life will be, a piss. Your life will be such a bad thing. You're missing out. But you're not missing out on anything. You're going to be missing out on the money you paid for that. Because in most situations, you're not even going to need those truly. Anything new can improve your life, but most people, because of their overthinking, they don't have time for anything. They buy all sorts of things thinking that they'll feel less abandoned. Abandonment only happens because of separation. We're 8 billion people on the planet, and everyone on this planet seems to be suffering of this abandonment issues. Once one finds out means to bring peace to their mind, things will become much better because it will feel scary in the end. It will feel scary when everything is peaceful in your mind because all your fears, all your problems, all your troubles will surface. If you learn how to make peace with those as well and just let them flow like a movie, like remembrances of your past, you can find answers or seek answers and they will come in time. You will realize, or you will find the right people, or you should seek the right people to help you figure out how to solve certain traumas, certain abandonment issues, and the such. Ask in left and right. You may be surrounded by people who don't know much, or who claim they know a lot of people, or a lot of things, or anything that may help you. Try to simply find inner peace. Go in a park. Do more movement because there's way too little activity happening in societies anyways. All society has become is a synonym of death because you no longer have things that uplift your spirit. The music is dead. Everything's a business nowadays. So one has to find in the end inner peace. When you find your inner power back, you're no longer going to cede it to all the bozos. You're going to start working on yourself and you're slowly going to become a wolf and no longer become a sheep. So, one becoming more knowledgeable of their internal power, they will also become knowledgeable of how to not lose it anymore because you've been giving it freely. Now you can simply take it back. Hopefully, this video raised a bit of awareness. You are appreciated. Take care, enjoy life. Ferenc on board, signing out.